Hello class, this is Craig, and this is the first video I've created for you. My intent here is to show you how to get started using the shopping Excel spreadsheet to do your first CT assignment. You can see that I have downloaded and opened up in Excel. The author calls it a database. It's not a database, it's an Excel workbook. It's called Shopping. And it's shown here. The first thing I'm going to do is give myself some more space. So I'm going to select the first row and I'm going to say insert. I want a row. And what I'm going to do is put numbers up here. Let's see, 1, 2, and then autofill all the way over to the right, because the author talks about columns and well, these words are kind of hard to see. So now I have column numbers. I'm going to center those. I'm going to bold those so they show up as columns. Yeah, I'm needing some room to work here, so I'm also going to put in a column because down here at the bottom, let's see, control down arrow, I found earlier that we had to look at this column 7 is the first thing we do, and there's a bunch of numbers here in here, but we need to know the max and the min in order to create our first frequency. What's it called? A frequency diagram. No, distribution. There we go. So what I'm going to do is type mix. What I really wanted to type was max and min. Oh, I'm going to move those two because I also want my column in there as well. So I'm going to do that 1, 2, whoopsie, 2 thing and copy those over. Autofill works slick. And they're centered. Nice. Make them bold. And now I want the max and min. So I'm going to insert the AutoSum max, and he's saying that many. Well, yeah, except I don't need that bottom one included. There we go. B2 to B152. Is B2 where I wanted to start? No, I wanted to start at B3. I'll bring that down. There we go. And now I've got the max B3 to 152. I hit enter. And I'll do the same for this one, except I want the min. And I got to clean it up. Sometimes it's hard to grab those. I'll just do this. I'll click and drag over the ones I want, because that always works. All right. That looks right. Let's see if I've got them now. Yes, I do. I hit enter, and I screwed up. Yeah, I sure did, but I can edit this thing and fix it. There we go. Max and the min in the first column are 6 and 1. And now I'm going to copy these over. And using autofill. I don't know that I'm going to need to know the max and the min of all these columns, but I know I'm going to need it for the first thing that we do. So, okay, there they are. I'm going to add some color to these things just to keep them straight from the rest of the spreadsheet. There we go. Okay, let me take a break here and get oriented. Okay. The first frequency distribution we're going to create, I'm looking at page 56 in my text, and it says, problem number 1 says, use variables 7, 8, and 9, and we're going to compare how residents' general attitudes towards each of the 3 malls. If I flip back a page to page 55, I see that variables 7, 8, and 9 are up at the top of page 55, and we're going to start with variable 7. It'll be our first frequency distribution, and I can see that I'm going to be, for each of these records, each row in the Excel spreadsheet, that's one person, and in column 7, there's either going to be a 5, 4, 3, 2, or a 1, which describes how the person feels about Springdale Mall, whether they like it very much or they dislike it very much or something in the middle. Now, I guess the text told me that the ratings are 1 through 5, but in my spreadsheet, recall it said variable 7 is column 7, so my 7 comes in handy. I did the max and min, and sure enough, I know that the ratings are going to be 1 through 5. Now, one of the things we needed to do in order to create our histogram is do what I've done over here at the left. I've created this little table. The author calls it bin. These are the categories, the midpoints, the ratings that are used, and we'll need to specify that when we create our frequency distribution. Okay, so I'm ready to create my first frequency distribution using the data in column 7. Okay, if we've installed our 2 pieces of software correctly, we only need the first piece for this one. On the Data tab, we will find an analysis group at the far right, and we need the data analysis button, and that gets us the, what's it called, data analysis tool pack or data tool pack, something like that. And we click on that, and I see there's a histogram here. That's the guy we need. That will give us our frequency distribution. And this was all described in the book. The author walked you through this procedure. You can tell from the Office button, I'm using Office 2007, which is, I believe, what our book is based on. The author stated somewhere you can use Office 2010, or I read that somewhere, and many of you are, but you've probably had to do a little bit of modification in order to do that, in order to get the other add-ins tab, which you see here on my ribbon, in order for that to show up. We'll be using those tools later on in the course. All right, histogram, I say OK, and a dialog box popped up, and it's saying, where's my data? Now, I was practicing before, and I've already selected a data range, but I'm going to just reselect it. You have to start, well, we're doing column 7, remember. You have to start with the name, or you're going to come up one value short. He's going to throw out that top 4. So I click on Spring, whatever it said, Springdale something, and I scroll all the way down to the bottom eventually, and I don't want my column number there. And sure enough, it put H2 to H152 in the range. Next, I need to define my bin range. Now, once again, why is this called bin? I don't know. Anyone figure that out? Post it to the general questions board, and it's worth, I don't know, 6,000 or 10,000 bonus points? Joking. All right, here's my bin range. I'm going to highlight that, get rid of it. Now I'm going to click and drag over my bin range. Yep, A158 to 163. Let's keep that. Output range, where do I want my results to show up? Well, I want them right here, so I'm going to click in here and delete what's in there. I'm going to say I want them to show up right starting in that cell. That's C158. Output range has to be selected. I also want my chart. I want my histogram. And I say OK, and there they are. Just like that, they popped up. You might want to add these values up. There's 150 rows, 150 people in this survey, and that total should be 150. Mine is. All right, editing your histogram, if you like. Again, if you want to just highlight that and say copy and paste it into a Word diagram. Whoops. And, you know, you can do fancy tables with that. You can clean it up however you want. The data is more important than how pretty it is. But if you want to clean things up a little bit, you can. And this table is perfectly acceptable as a frequency diagram. I kind of like the the histograms. So I'm going to go back to my histogram, and I'm going to edit it kind of how the author suggested. Let's see, we right-click on the data series. We want to remove the gap. What else do we want to do? Let's see. Format the data series. I want fill is fine. I don't think I need to do anything else there. Let's do the plot area. Format plot area. Border style. Border color. I need a solid line. I want a line and I want it black. There, I put the border line in. This data series, I want to see these lines between the blocks. So I'm going to go back to formatting the data series. Is it fill? Fill. Border color. There it is. I want a solid line. And a black line would work. I don't know. I'll make this one white because that'll work too. Now you can see I have little lines. I can see my blocks better. All right. I don't need this key. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm going to right-click it and say delete. Probably going to change my titles. This one is Springdale Mall. So I could change that to Springdale Mall or just Springdale. You'll come up with something. Bin. What the hell is... Oh, sorry. What is that bin? I don't know. But really, this should be what? Rating or rank? Okay, looking pretty good. Maybe a fill color here would snazz things up. Solid fill. Ooh, how about a picture or text fill? Yes, I want the dead fish. No, I don't want the dead fish. Something simple. There, that looks good. Marble, granite. Probably going to change the size of this thing a little bit. Squeeze her down and maybe expand her a little bit. I got a little carried away there. Okay, one last thing I think would be nice. I'm going to right-click on this, and I'm going to add data labels, which just repeats the data in the frequency distribution. The height of the bars, actually. And that, to me, is a very pretty little histogram. Okay, let's make one more. Let's repeat this real quick. I'm going to go data analysis. I want a histogram. This time I want to do the next row over, so I'm going to highlight the next column. Oopsie, not two columns, just column 8. Let's see, everything else can stay the same, right? My bin range. Nope, not my output range. I want this one to be underneath him, so I'll say let's start him there. And everything else looks good. And I got my next one. And boy, I'm just going to fill this guy up with 16 of them. I tried putting things on the other sheets, and I ran into some problems. Don't know why. Gave up quick. Just decided to put everything at the bottom here. Let's see. If I right-click on the first one I made, the one that's cleaned up, I can copy it. Go over to my Word diagram. I can just as easily insert these things into my paper. And recall I said you might want to put 3 or 4 of these together in a group. Yeah, I'm going to go back and get the same one again. Well, wait, I should be able to just paste again. There. Maybe if I made them a little narrower, I could have put them too wide. Too wide. And underneath, I'll type figure 1. Or do I type figure 1 at the top? No, I think I write figure 1 here in italics, don't I? And I say blah, 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 blah. All right. Well, I hope this has been helpful. I will plan on making a second video tonight describing how to do a cross tabulation. That's a little bit trickier. Bye-bye.